So now that our sides are basted on both sides, what we're going to do now is we're going to go work in the lacing, not the thread. I actually, when we talked about the quilt earlier, I was corrected by Mr. Ritchie and he said that's not thread, that's called lacing. So lacing in a football. So here, what I'm going to do is we're going to ditch around here, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to ditch around the underlacing. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go and we're just going to throw in lines here. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to ditch around this guy. And then we're going to come back and we're going to do the same thing, work our way down, and then do our straight line. That's going to add some nice straight line texture in there for the underlacing. And then echo again. Now when I finish all the way down within my throat space, then I'm going to come back to the crossover of the lacing and I'm going to go in, I think, yeah, I think a half of an inch. I might do a quarter inch on the side, but I'll do a half of an inch um, up and in and leave a nice open area in here for some texture to give it that lovely three-dimensional kind of feel to it. So the one thing that I want to share though is when I'm doing this for the underlacing, I'm not going to go ahead and, which is what most of us would do, including myself in the past, is I would just go ahead and make my lines. This is not quite 3 inches wide. So I centered it here. I did inch and a half, and then from that inch and a half out, I went out half an inch, half an inch. So my two side guys are a little more narrow than the other ones in here. Now, instead of just doing one at a time, once I get the main one in, then I'm going to use those same lines to follow down and make my marks all the way down in the tuck unders, all the way down the quilt. Because I want to make sure that that line stays consistent underneath so it doesn't throw the eye off when you look at it. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's get started quilting that. I'm going to be using two different ditch rulers. I'm actually going to be using my ditcher 1 to do the ditch work around the upper lace and then the underlacing. Because it's smaller, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use my mini no notch. Now again, when I'm doing this ditch work, I'm actually going to err to just inside the white rather than in the brown. And most of the times, I can hit it. Not every time. Again, I'm not a computer. You're not a computer. You are human. Now I'm going to come back. I'm going to refollow that line. Right in the ditch. Now I'm going to go ahead and ditch the underlacing. And what I'm going to do is I head my way over is I'm actually going to go ahead and ditch the outside first. I find that that tends to stabilize everything a little better rather than work my way over and hit the vertical lines on my way over. So I'm going to go ahead just like that. I'm going to come back down on that line. Now I'm going to work my way back again. And now let me switch to my little guy here. Line that up. Go up, down, stop, travel the ditch, up, down, stop, travel the ditch, up, down, right on the same line, over, stop, line it up, down, over, up, down. Now I can go ahead, I can finish ditching this other overlapping lace. Remember, one size ditcher does not fit all. When you are doing surface quilting, you need a toolbox full of tools that are going to work. And now I'm going to continue down and repeat that process to fill up my whole throat space worth of the lace. And then I'm going to come back with my blue line erase and get rid of my blue lines, and then we're going to go in and put some filler in the crossover lace. Blue line eraser to get rid of the blue lines. Magic. Now the one thing to remember is I tend to only use this on white. I don't use it on anything with color. If I'm doing anything on color, I'm going to be using my chalk and then just simply a wipe away red velour lint remover or a fiber washcloth, microfiber. And I'm not saturating because especially if I have a really dark back, I don't want anything to go down through the quilt, grab color, and bring it up in case that color is not locked. It's just enough to remove it from the surface, and that's where a lot of people will blow it using products like this, is they put too much on. That's why this little applicator is so important to use rather than a spray bottle. And I can get it directly right on that line. Ta-da!